Hello and welcome. My name is Jahan. I'm the Senior Growth Marketing Manager here at Swoogo, and I am joined today by the lovely dynamic duo, Nicole and Liz from Club Ichi. Liz and Nicole, you want to say hi and give us a little elevator pitch for those who are not familiar with Club Ichi or maybe need a little reminder.
I'm Liz.
I'm Nicole.
And Club Ichi is our private membership club for B2B event marketers and the ecosystem who supports them. We love all of you guys bringing the energy and hanging out with us, and we encourage you to come join us.
We're like a country club for the event world.
But a cool one. Not that country clubs are not cool.
Yeah.
Just,
not the kind where you wear like sweaters over your shoulders and polo shirts. Like you could wear like barefoot in your pajamas. So like a fun slumber party country club.
I've never been in a country club. I don't know what it means.
Yeah.
Love that. A little note. First of all, thank you for spending 30 minutes of your day with us while we talk about unconventional events. Before we get started, a quick note: to the right of your screen, you'll see chat and Q&A. Chat with each other, chat with us, drop your questions in there, and we'll get to those at the end of today's call. So this is actually part 2 of unconventional events. We had one last month and it was so popular. If you attended that one, thank you for coming back. If you haven't, I highly encourage you to watch the on-demand version. Liz and Nicole were dropping gem after gem after gem. So I'm sure you'll be truly inspired by that. But let's dive right in, because last time we were fighting for our lives against the clock. Let's define what unconventional is. To me, it's breaking away from the norm. It is giving your attendees, showing the attendees that you're worth their time, right? Because that's why we do this. They're first and foremost. And maybe if we did it right, maybe it's a symbiotic relationship and we get a little ROI, a little ROE, wink, wink. I feel like my son, he's like, look, mama, I'm blinking. I'm winking. No. Nice. Liz and Nicole, what would you add to what unconventional means to you?
I mean, I think that conventional now, especially with AI, means that the world has become mediocre, and it's okay. Everything is just being auto-generated. It's on autoplay and it's on automation all the way through. And unconventional is breaking through that. How can we make sure that we are doing something that's going to provide value and was worth our attendees getting on a plane and actually showing up with us? Because if I flew somewhere and the entire event could have been consumed on a podcast or YouTube, then that was a huge waste of my time.
And I would say 2 parts. When I first hear the word unconventional, because this is kind of just how my brain works, I think like big, crazy, different, never before, world's first, those big flashy titles, which are fun. And we produce inside, Club Ichi for our signature events. But it really right now, I think that it's unconventional is a successful execution of intention. And that is, write that down. That was really good. Somebody write it in the chat so I can get it later. And it really like that thoughtfulness and the thinking through it from a hospitality standpoint, instead of what does our company need to get out from a content perspective that maybe our attendees need to hear. You know what? Here's a question. Ask yourself, do they need to hear anything? Or do you need to hear from them? And do they need to talk to each other? Those would be the questions truly that would be unconventional to ask, and then respond with an event that is, yes, within your brand, but still falls into the successful and, intentional kind of thing. And the result of that is always brand loyalty, bigger sales, upsell, a hyper community, all those things that you try and force will happen naturally.
I think intention over attention is what we often say.
Ooh, another gem. Y'all write that down. I
got that one.
Intentionality. And the automation. I want to speak to the automation that you mentioned, Liz. I think about that saying, what is it? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Why does it have to be broken in order for us to fix it? You don't wait for your car to break down before you get an oil change. It's called maintenance, right? So let's go into some of those things that we can take off of automation. Let's go into some intentionality. Last episode, y'all threw out some wonderful off-the-wall ideas, like telling your attendees to pack a rubber chicken, but not telling them why. Getting socks printed with your attendee's name on it and then having them find their sock mate on site. Not switching the socks though, because that's unhygienic. And then
we don't switch fluids. Gross.
swap foods. And then one of the ones that I really liked was doing a progressive lunch. And so people are not sitting with the same people for lunch. Maybe you have your salad at this table and you get up and you sit with another sponsor or partner or another group. I love that. Again, being intentional of where people are spending their time and how they're spending their time. So I was wondering what other inspo has hit you in the last month? And Nicole, I love the way you frame it. I want someone to. So give us some homework.
Okay, so what we wanted to talk about today were the sponsorship side of things. This is really the inspiration that we had, which is, oh my God, sponsorships are awful.
Terrible.
They're so boring. Like, okay, I'm going to give you a gajillion dollars to slap my name on something. Let me play a video before my session starts and let me do a pitch slap as content. That's just awful. So the homework here is to, if you are purchasing sponsorships, figure out a way to make it more valuable to the participants that will drive more value to you. If you are selling sponsorships, figure out a way to not be boring. So I think, did we talk about our idea for the cybersecurity one last time?
Is that the one where you have a bodyguard follow you around?
That's one. But then the other one was the bathrooms. Like, we would love to see a company, you know, sponsor the bathrooms and have it look like there's somebody looking over the stalls and say something along the lines of value your privacy. Come see us in booth 318. Like, how can we take these messages, these sponsorships, and kind of push them further and do more amazing things with them?
Yeah. And I'll say that sponsorships as an industry is the most antiquated, not changing an approach thing I've ever seen for a group of people that should be the ones coming up with crazy, I don't want to say crazy, different, more valuable, thoughtful, whatever. There was an amazing campaign. The PWHL is the Professional Women's Hockey League, and they partnered with Molson Coors, and they switched. So girls have ponytails, and normally in hockey jerseys, the name's on their shoulders, right? So the ponytail was covering part of their name. I get goosebumps. And they moved the name. So they sponsored the jerseys, and they moved the name to the bottom by the, you know, the bottom of their back, and put their logo underneath their thing. And it says, we'll cover our name so yours can be seen. It was so good. And that's the thing, is that was not in a package. Mm-hmm. So I think as you look at sponsorship sales, like if your first thing is, well, what are our packages? Worry about how you're going to put together and share information later. And, you know, and maybe good, better, best, most expensive, platinum level, whatever. Maybe that's not the way to go sell it, you know, send it to them. I also understand that it's difficult sometimes because people do want to buy in package. Well, maybe then you need to reevaluate a little bit, or spend some time putting something together with thought before you even know if they need it, and say, I've been thinking about you a lot. We really want to bring you more value. And here's what we think would work better for your brand within our ecosphere. And then see what they say. If they're not going to listen to that, or they don't want it, then you really need to then your event's never going to change. Your attendees aren't going to have a good time. And your sponsor only cares about themselves, which is okay. That's the point. That's what they're paying for. But if you get them to switch a little bit, like, right, that the intention of that, then that's where the relationships form and the loyalty goes over them, and people want to explore it because they're like, whoa, that was good. What is this company? Or let me, you know, remember you.
There's so many things that I want to pick out of that. So one is aligning values with sponsors, right? If they are not into changing things up, or they just want the package, because I feel like there's a disconnect between, okay, you've programmed everything, you have this great agenda, you know the theme and the feel of your event, and then you sell a booth and you're like, hey, you can go do what you want with your booth. So there's that disconnect, and you leave it up to your sponsors. So I like that it is not only a connection with culture of you and your sponsors, but it's also the humanization. Like, that's the other part. It's not just, oh, ABC Factory is coming to sponsor. Who from ABC Factory is coming to sponsor? And maybe we can, you know, feature some of those people who will actually be on site, instead of just giving, you know, my boss always likes to say, people buy from people. Why aren't we highlighting the individual people from the sponsors?
Yes. Yeah. And I also have, like, maybe not an idea, but actually an example that we, you know, work with you, with Swoogo, is, you know, we have this crazy secret trip coming up. And what we're doing with you guys, for everybody that doesn't know, is we're building this new potential product offering that Swoogo is coming out with in public, and using our trip to show the power of creating hype. Like, how can you use a registration platform and website to create such a crazy, insane FOMO following, engagement with your audience before the event that drives audience acquisition, which is the ding ding number one problem for everybody. And then create this, like, imagine just being so excited to go to the same event that you're not even going to in person. And hello, that's where you put your sponsors. So create a whole nother group of what they're at, because some people aren't going to in person, and their sponsors, if they're not telling you, are wondering, what are we going to do on site? Not as many people are coming. And if they start asking you for a list of who's coming, that means that they're evaluating if they want to be if in person at your event is where they should put their money, because now they know that people aren't going as much or whatever else. And so to give them an opportunity to be the hype partner and create, like, and they get all of those digital media assets, which they get measurement, conversion, introductions, features, contests, everything through their product, is the coolest thing ever. And it opens up an entirely new area of sponsorship and dollar pull and activation area for them. And everybody wins, and it's fun. And so do the attendees.
Yes. And that's what's important, what the attendees get out of it, because if they're not getting anything out of it, your sponsors aren't getting anything out of it, you're not going to get anything out of it. So no more blocks of logos at the bottom of your page is what you're saying.
Correct. And, leave those to the brand, performance agencies, right? Where their job is to make sure that when you see a logo, there are agencies that do that. When you see a logo, you buy the thing. That's what, we were talking about this morning. Nike, I just want to see the placement in my head. So when I see it in the store, subconsciously, I'm going to go buy it, or whatever else. Like, that's their job. If you're sponsoring an event, that is not what you want. Your logo, like, that's the wrong strategy. To wonder where your logo is going to be and thank you for buying this lunch is the wrong strategy. That is not how you get the most ROI. To Ray's point is how you make it easy for sponsors to jump on board with you and be generous. Well, that is creating more exciting inventory for them to get in front of the audience in a new way. That is what you go and you tell them. And if they're not excited to hear how to get in front of your audience in a new way, then why are they in business?
So I think understanding why your sponsors are sponsoring. Do they want to be seen with you because you and your brand are cool, and they do want that brand awareness and they want alignment? Or do they want thought leadership because they are trying to drive positioning so that people will think of them in a different way? Or do they straight up want demand gen leads? They are simply there to capture names and do stuff. And you can craft different experiences around what their target is, rather than saying, here are the 4 pages of sponsorship things you can get. Your logo will be here.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I love that categorization of shameless plug. I produce our annual user conference, Unconventional, this year. It is in November in New Orleans. We're super excited about it. And I'm also in charge of sponsorship. So wasn't excited about it, but now I am. So
yay!
I get ready to see some of these ideas. I love the bathroom idea. I did have that one. I pitched that to one of our customers. Like, what if we had are you tired of cleaning up your own call up?
Yeah.
Call
Dude Wipes. Their whole brand is okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Or, you're in New Orleans, so you can absolutely have a beignet sponsor. Like, don't you think that there's plenty of Cafe Du Monde stuff going on there that you could have someone bring in? And then now you have this incredible, experience together. Is there a beignet making workshop that your VIPs get to go be a part of with the Cafe Du Monde pastry chef? And so that's a pre-event experience that happens. And then all these crazy things happen. And is there something you do with the powdered sugar? Because, oh my God, it gets everywhere. And can you have everybody wears black shirts and you powdered sugar it up, and then you just
the messiest
thing.
Yeah. Like a powdered sugar snow angel.
Exactly.
Oh,
so
that's great. How sweet it is.
Oh, I like that. Okay, I'm writing it up. Recorded and
take that.
All this stuff.
And I think if you look at what the questions, and maybe as a sponsor, okay, so let's pretend I'm a sponsor. I might be thinking for, let's say, a traditional trade show, okay, or an event. I might be thinking, how do I either get in front of the most people or have the most conversations? Because a lot of the thing is, well, how do we get them to do a demo? Because coming to my booth and scanning their badge is jack nothing until they sit there and do a demo for at least 3 minutes. If they stay 5, they're interested, whatever. So my thing would be, then you want to walk through the experience and think, what does every single attendee do? So back to the sock point. Well, almost every attendee is wearing shoes and socks. What do you do with that? Almost every, you know what I mean? Like thinking they have to, drink, they go to the bathroom, right? So nobody would have thought of those things. Checking their email, what's happening at the charging station that's different, and, whatever else, I don't know, but like thinking through what do they absolutely have to do, unleveraged space, the ceiling. How do you get them to do, you know what I mean? Like, it's just different as everybody leverages the floors. But what if you did it different and made them look up? Like, things are looking up with my product. Literally, you got to look up, whatever. And it's cool to look up. So that's where it's like, what is that leverage? Even just space, vertical space, all of that kind of stuff for something physical. And snail mail. People love getting stuff, but they don't like getting crap stuff. And so it's like, pick 5 winners and send them something so freaking cool. Like, here's a gift certificate to go get an away luggage as you come here, right? That is a nice, who would not love a carry-on from away, another one or a nicer one or whatever it is. Like, that's the thing. Or maybe that's 4 away, right? And so those are the kind of things to think of, is getting there. What are travel accessories that you can pick on to the experience? Let us send you a $50, let us cover your Uber to the airport. We're so excited you're coming.
I love sending out Uber codes. And this leads into, I feel like you kind of answered it already, Nicole, but my next thing is, so after last episode, I was like, oh my gosh, all these good ideas. And then I started to second guess myself, right? We have all these think pieces of, we need to do things better. Things need to change. And you're like, oh my gosh, like, is this still cool? Is this lame? Are they going to think that I'm like, the cool mom, in Mean Girls? I'm not a regular event planner. I'm a cool event planner. But then like,
yeah.
Right? So how do you continuously push the envelope when the unusual becomes ordinary? Like we talked about, no sponsorships, just throw the whole, as they say, just break up with him. Just throw the whole thing out, turn it over. But does everything need to be turned over? Like,
no.
Yeah.
And in fact, we get bored with ourselves faster than our attendees get bored with things we're doing. So that is definitely something to manage and consider, which is if you are constantly throwing out all the things, then your people can't keep up with you. We struggle with that at Club Ichi because Nicole and I get bored really easily, and we're constantly doing new things. And we definitely hear from our members like, wow, can I just breathe for a second sometimes, because we go really, really fast. So there is a moment, like that's what we're doing right now, which is that we take the month of April, slow it down for a minute. Let's let everybody catch up. Let's reset. And you can do that with your events too. So it doesn't mean that you have to throw the baby out with the bathwater every single year and recreate your event from scratch. There are things that work. There are things your attendees expect. The tried and true first timers reception. What a boring thing to say you have. Oh, it's the first timers reception. But here's the thing. That thing works. People look forward to that. Your board members, your executives can be there. First timers can get to know each other in a smaller, more intimate micro event environment. And if you do it right, it is the best thing you could possibly do for your new attendees. So don't just throw it out, but think about the intention behind it. It is not just a thing you do to put on the agenda. Yeah. It's a thing you do because it matters. So don't put the music too loud, the cheese cubes in the corner, and not have anybody hosting it. Make it an experience where they come in, they get to meet each other. They're going to create their cohort that's going through this event together and really craft it with intention. I think that's the big difference.
Mm-hmm. And I'll say, I'll just kind of validate that. Although it may be easy for, like, that's our job all day, is to be like, oh, I have a crazy idea. You know what I want to do? Like, or you should do it. But we're known for that. And so people expect that from us. What they might not expect from somebody putting together this event is to go to their leadership board and be like, I have a crazy idea. You know what we should do? So I think 2 things is, one is imposter approval. Okay, imposter syndrome when it comes to approval. It is scary and could mean them not looking at you in a good way when you propose a different format, idea, or whatever, especially if they're working on ROE, return on ego, where they're saying, this is what we need to do, and here's what we absolutely have. So I think first thing would be understanding what the person who could say no and shut you down first. That doesn't mean it's the CEO, whoever that person is to you, be it your manager, the CEO of the company, whatever, understanding why they would say no and coming to them and lead with that first. I know this is what you want, and I totally get that. I think, but I also know that we're trying to hit this goal and whatever else. And I think I have a way to bring that in through sponsorships in a new way that helps us exceed our goals. Any person in the history of business will listen. So that's where you get your attention. You have to be sure that this is tied to conversion, more money, more sales, or something that you're trying to do with your company that maybe you could accelerate or do better or is going poorly. So lead with a pain point or an area of opportunity. If you don't have a strong one of those, you can't suggest anything new. So this only works in that situation is they have to be ready and there has to be pain that you solve.
Yeah.
And it can't be about you trying to get, save your job or them think that you have all these ideas. It doesn't matter. Put yourself in the back and the company forward. And then when you do present it to them, right, then you're making a business case, not a attendee, it would be cool case or whatever else. Once you get that approval, then you can go ahead and put it into place. But a lot of times people are more scared to bring the idea forward. And that is why, not because they say no, but because they don't approach it in the right way and they're not pitching it correctly. So if you need to go and say, I actually called our 3 biggest clients or because you have a relationship with them, of course, or the salespeople, or I got this information from the sales team. Here's what I know about our top 3 accounts that are going to have X amount of people at this event. And here's what I know about our top 3 sponsors that are going to that have spent this in the past. I think I can get them to spend more, and here's how. And that is going to affect our top 3 clients, and here's how. And this is going to make it better. So you have happier clients to upsell, more money from the sponsor, and a cooler experience. If they say no, that is not okay for a business. Like really, then they don't have a problem or they don't understand it. It's not that it's a bad idea. It's one of the two. And let me tell you what we know about CEOs, or maybe sometimes, is if they don't understand it, they won't tell you. They'll just be like, no, that's not going to work or whatever else, because they don't want to say, I don't get it. Keep explaining. You're now annoying and that doesn't make sense to you. And you're the person they can't understand. So there is a risk there if you do it the wrong way and bring it up to them. And a lot of people say they're never going to say yes. Well, then that problem is you. Not
have a point of view and have data to back it up. A friend of mine was the CMO of a data company, and she had the craziest, wildest idea to rebrand the thing. She wanted to go pink for their brand colors. And their board of directors was like, why in the world? Everyone is blue. We've been blue for years and years. And she took a picture of a trade show floor where all of their competitors had blue logos and said, this is why. We will never stand out if we don't change it. And they did. They changed the entire brand, the whole thing, and they stand out. Like it works. So if you have the point of view, you have the data to back it up, and then you can make your persuasive argument for change.
Data, already know the no in your mind, so you can combat that. Now,
right.
Liz, Nicole, if you go in and they continuously say no, what are you doing? What can you do?
Yeah. I think then it's reaffirm, just so I understand, help me understand. Is this just so I make sure we're putting this together and it hits all the goals that we have for the event? Can I just outline these and check to make sure they're right? We want to 1, 2, 3, and we are planning on doing that by 1, 2, and 3. And here are the results we expect by doing 1, 2, and 3. Is that correct? And if we hit these results, that's great. And they'll say yes. And then say, now, if we could do more than those results or double those responses, do we want to do that or no? And then they'll be like, well, of course we'll do that. And be like, okay, so my plan is doubling this then. And so then you're redefining what they just said, and they forget everything you said before that. You need to capitalize it in that 10-second mental moment where they're realizing, oh, what you just said was I'm going to double. Because the other thing is once they're convinced that they have a working model or that it works or that they can't change it or it, oh, how would people, whatever, always lead with the money. And if they say, no, we don't want to make more money, well, then either you have your answer, but I don't know how they would be a business for very long. That doesn't, it's generally not the case.
All right, got it. So obviously show me the money. What about showing those results? After you promise double, then you come back. How do you measure a feeling? How do you measure that was cool? How do you get away
I think that's the point is I don't think that you're measuring the feeling. I think you're measuring an action or an inaction. So, and you have to have something to compare it against. So if all you have is a booth, okay, so let's make it like the most basic thing. If all you have is a booth and you've been doing that for 5 years, well, then you should probably know, even if you never recorded it, you could ask the people who were in the booth or whatever, because maybe they never recorded it as a company. You could be like, I called the salespeople or the people that are in this booth for the past 5 years, and I asked them, what is the average time that these people hang around with? And when do they leave? At what point in the conversation? And they'll tell you that, oh, some of them come in, we're just touching base. I, explain what we have. They look at the demo for a minute and then they're out. Then you know that the demo is the problem, or there's nothing else after the demo, because when they're like, all right, so that's what we have. Thanks. It was good to see you. See you later. It may have been a successful demo that was exciting, but there was nothing after that to either keep them there, upsell, do whatever. Now you've broken down in something that you can measure in where the problem is of why they're not staying in your booth longer. And that is the opportunity to change the experience, to do whatever, or offer them something else, like, that kind of thing. So that's basic.
So I think that when we talk about engagement, we view it as 3 things: cognitive, behavioral, or emotional engagement. So determine what you're trying to measure. And that you cannot measure what you have no idea what you're trying to measure. So are you trying to measure behavior? Are you trying to measure retention of content? Or are you trying to measure that feeling? So if it is cognitive that you're trying to catch, like if people are at a conference and you want to know if they learned something, it's a sales conference and you need the sales teams to go out and actually have comprehended what is happening and what the new products are like, well, then obviously there's ways to capture cognitive engagement and tests and quizzes and other opportunities, right? If it's behavioral, maybe you're at the trade show booth and you need to be able to scan people's badges. You need people to do a demo. It's things, tasks you need them to do. You can measure that. If it's emotional and you actually want them to have more of a loyalty play with you and think better about your brand or choose you over a competitive brand, and these are the feeling pieces of it. There are many ways to measure emotional engagement, from NPS score to the ROE score. So Nicole and I did a research study a few years ago that we labeled return on emotion, and it was to determine what emotions you needed to evoke in order to drive business. So how do you craft an event or an experience with this emotional engagement that truly does drive relationships, that drive pipeline and revenue? So there are 5 emotions that we determined from that research study. You have to evoke the feelings of hopefulness, motivation, adventure, active, and accepted. So the hope and motivation, let's do it this way. Hope and motivation, I'll put those at the ends. Your marketing team is already doing that with your keynote speaker. It's hope and motivation. You want people to have a hope for a better tomorrow. You want them to be motivated to go do something. Everybody's doing that with their events already. It's the 3 in the middle that people forget: active, adventure, and accepted. The accepted part, when people come to your event, do they know they're in the right place? Do they know that they belong? Do they feel like someone there welcomed them? Or did they get a series of automated emails and no one ever actually talked to them? And we talk about AI, the difference between, I would say the difference between service and hospitality. You can automate service. You can't automate hospitality. So with that accepted piece, make sure that you have people for that. And then my other 2 A's, the adventure and the active. The active part is, can people be engaged? Can they actually be actively part of either building the agenda, being part of conversations, truly being active and not just sitting and getting for 3 days? The adventure part is what most people don't do. We talk about what is unconventional. It's adding the sense of adventure, whether it's letting your participants do something adventurous or letting the participants watch someone else do something adventurous. You've seen people do those Hot Ones challenges where they get interviewed and they have to eat progressively hotter and hotter wings. Yeah, you guys have done it. So that can be just as much of an adventure, because you want to see if they're going to make it to the end. They don't have to be the ones participating in it to have that feeling of, oh my God, is he going to cry? Like, what's going to happen? How much milk did he drink? Right. But the opportunity for them to go on the adventure adventure is even better? Can there be experiences if you're in a specific location where you can take micro events out to do some cultural things? Can you let them do some fun stuff before the event or after the event, pre-trip, post-trip, workshop things that get them in there? So those things, if you can create an experience with those 5 emotions, they are measurable. Pipeline and revenue are measurable from the activities that happen afterwards, but you can measure that you hit those 5 emotions in your post-event surveys or exit surveys.
Oh, we freeze.
Nope, we're here.
And I'm responding to some things in the chat too. So if you have any other ones, just pop them in there for us.
So we are at time, but Liz, where can we find that research?
That's a great question. I've got a lot of it on LinkedIn. So if you follow my LinkedIn, then I can, or send me a DM, or if you're in Club Ichi, drop it in the Slack channel. We can send you all the information about that.
Okay.
Here, I'll put her LinkedIn in here.
So thank you for all of your questions. Thank you for tuning in. We had great gems. I love the last measurement piece. I wish we had more time for that. Nicole and
we
Liz,
can explore that later.
Okay, awesome. You can be found on LinkedIn at Club Ichi. Any parting words?
I think that most of us doing events, the one thing we really need to go measure is pipeline and revenue. Tie your events to the business. You are not just a planner. You are an event marketer, which means that you are part of the marketing team, which means that you must drive pipeline and revenue, or you get no budget and you have no events. So go work with your sales ops team and your marketing ops teams and understand exactly how you can help drive conversions, deal acceleration, get people in the pipeline or influence that pipeline. That is what you need to measure.
Believe you have a seat at the table and show up.
That's right.
All right. Thank you both very much. Thank you all for joining. Have a great Wednesday, and this will be available on demand.
Yay!
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Love you all.